Instead of meeting him on the battlefield, they dismantle him through precision, through intellect, through an understanding of the very thing he cannot control, his own mind. Asimov reveals the mule's downfall not in some grand climactic war, but in a quiet, almost poetic unraveling. A single-second foundationer, a mentalic of incredible strength, reaches him, not with weapons, not with armies, but with clarity. The mule's greatest weapon, his ability to control emotions, is turned against him. His ambition, his paranoia, his endless fear of being alone are manipulated until his conquest falters. Slowly, his empire begins to slip from his hands. What makes this ending so powerful is that it is not explosive. The mule does not die in battle, nor is he assassinated in the night. Instead, his defeat is written into the very fabric of his existence. His reign, as terrifying as it was, is temporary. His mutant powers, though unmatched, cannot sustain a galactic dynasty. The second foundation ensures that history realigns itself with the Seldon plan, correcting the chaos the mule unleashed. Yet, Asimov does not strip the mule of his humanity. Even in defeat, he remains a haunting figure. He retreats, not destroyed but broken, fading into the shadows of history. His empire collapses, his influence weakens, and the galaxy begins to heal. But the memory of his reign, the proof that one man can defy the plan, lingers like a scar across time. For Asimov's readers, the mule's story is both a thrilling detour and a sobering reminder. No system, no prediction, no vision of the future can ever be fully secure from the unpredictable nature of humanity. The mule's fate is tragic because it reflects his paradox. He is the most powerful being of his age, yet he is powerless to escape the inevitability of his own limits. He is a conqueror who commands the hearts of billions, yet he cannot find genuine love for himself. He is a ruler who shatters history, yet in the end, history swallows him whole. The mule in Asimov's books and the mule in Apple TV's Foundation may share the same name, but they exist in very different storytelling worlds. To truly understand how the show might portray him, we need to explore both the similarities and the radical differences between book canon and screen adaptation. In the novels, the mule's greatest strength is surprise. He appears out of nowhere, a complete anomaly, a figure that even Hari Seldon's psychohistory cannot anticipate. His power is not military genius or wealth, but the terrifying ability to manipulate emotions. The fact that no one saw him coming is what makes him so dangerous. He is the ultimate curveball, the one variable Seldon's equations could not account for. But the Apple TV series has taken a different path. Instead of surprise, the show has chosen prophecy. From as early as season 2, audiences have been teased with visions of the mule, dark flashes of future devastation shown to Gal Dornick and Salvor Hardin. His presence is not unexpected, but looming. This changes the emotional weight of his character entirely. In the books, the mule blindsides the galaxy. In the show, he's a storm cloud on the horizon, a disaster everyone knows is coming but no one can stop. This small change makes his arrival less of a shock and more of a dread-filled inevitability. Another key difference is how the show frames Hari Seldon's plan. In the novels, the plan is almost sacred, a mathematical certainty, believed to be unshakable until the mule appears. His existence is the proof that no plan is perfect. The TV series, however, has already bent Seldon's plan many times, weaving in multiple timelines, clones, and character arcs that never existed in Asimov's original work. By the time the mule arrives, the plan is already shown to be fragile. This means his role may not be to break the plan, but to test it in ways that feel personal to the characters we've been following. Characterization is another major contrast. Asimov's mule was a tragic conqueror, someone who longed for genuine human connection but could never trust the feelings of others. His loneliness was as defining as his power. The series, though, seems to be painting him as more mythic, a dark messiah figure whose legend is built up long before his reveal. This suggests the show may push him further into the role of a symbolic villain, the anti-Seldon, rather than the lonely, almost pitiable tyrant from the books. There's also the question of timing. In the books, the mule dominates much of the mid-saga, destabilizing the galaxy before being checked by the second foundation. The show, however, seems to be positioning him later, perhaps as the climactic threat of the story. If that's the case, we may not see his downfall mirror the novels at all. Instead of a quiet unraveling at the hands of the second foundation, Apple TV might choose a more explosive confrontation, something visually grand and emotionally satisfying for television audiences. Yet, despite these differences, the essence of the mule remains. Whether in the pages of Asimov's Foundation or on screen, he's the embodiment of chaos, the reminder that no matter how carefully we try to predict the future, there will always be anomalies, always wild cards, always forces that cannot be calculated. The mule is not just a villain. He is the story's philosophical punchline. He forces us to ask, can history ever truly be controlled, or is it forever vulnerable to the unexpected? In this way, the books and the series are two sides of the same coin. The novels gave us the mule as a shocking disruption, a lonely tyrant who proved the fragility of Seldon's vision. The series gives us the mule as a looming prophecy, a nightmare that characters see coming but cannot escape. Both versions speak to the same truth, that no empire, no plan, no system of control can withstand the unpredictable nature of humanity. So, what will happen in Season 3, Episode 9 and beyond? Will the show honor the novels and give us the mule's eventual quiet downfall, orchestrated by the unseen hand of the second foundation? Or will it chart its own course, making his reign longer, bloodier, and more spectacular? One thing is certain, the mule's arrival, whether in print or on screen, marks the moment when Foundation stops being about prediction and starts being about survival. The mule's shadow stretches far beyond the pages of Asimov's Foundation and the frames of Apple TV's adaptation. He is more than a villain, more than a conqueror. He is a reminder that no matter how sophisticated our plans may be, the future is never certain. That is why his presence lingers with such force. Whether you meet him in the novels as the lonely mutant with psychic control, or in the series as the prophesied storm on the horizon, the mule speaks to the same truth. The most dangerous thing in any empire is not a weapon, but the unpredictable spark of one extraordinary individual. When we look at the books, the mule represents the flaw in Hari Seldon's great mathematical masterpiece. Psychohistory assumes individuals don't matter, that the weight of billions drowns out the choices of one. Yet here comes the mule, one man bending entire populations to his will, a living contradiction that makes Seldon's plans stumble. Readers of Asimov's time saw him as a narrative explosion, a terrifying answer to the question, what happens when the unthinkable becomes real? His defeat was quiet, poetic, a reminder that even chaos eventually falls back into order. But the series is not just telling the story of Asimov's books. It is retelling it for a new age, for audiences who live in a world of uncertainty. Think about it today. We rely on predictions in everything from economics to politics to climate science. We trust systems, numbers, and data to tell us where we're headed. And yet, in our lives, we all know that sometimes one event, one person, one decision can change everything. That's why the mule feels so modern, so frightening, so relevant. He is chaos dressed as destiny. He is the question mark at the end of every equation. Season 3, Episode 9, then, carries enormous weight. Fans are not only watching to see the mule appear, they're watching to see how the writers will interpret his legacy. Will they honor the spirit of the novels, where he is undone by the quiet wisdom of the second foundation? Or will they give us something bolder, reshaping his fate to match the demands of modern storytelling? Perhaps the show will make him even more dangerous, even more enduring, turning him into a threat that defines the entire series. The possibilities are endless, and that uncertainty is exactly what makes him so compelling. And this brings us to you, the audience. The mule is not just a character to be analyzed. He's a mystery to be debated. His story sparks questions that have no easy answers. If you could see the future, would you want to? If you believed in a plan for humanity, how would you react if one man shattered it overnight? And most importantly, Do you think the series should remain faithful to Asimov's original vision, or carve its own path, giving us a mule who surprises even readers of the books? That's the beauty of Foundation. It isn't just about empires rising and falling, it's about the choices we make when faced with uncertainty. It's about the cracks in even the most perfect systems. And the mule is the embodiment of that idea. He forces us to admit that there will always be something outside our control, something unplanned, something unpredictable. So, as the galaxy of Foundation tilts toward its next great upheaval, one truth stands clear: the mule has arrived. Whether he's the lonely tyrant of Asimov's novels or the mythic figure teased by the series, he will change everything. And when the dust settles, the question will not just be what happened to him, but what his story says about us, about power, about control. A shadow looms over Hari Seldon's great plan, a force so unexpected that even the mathematics of psychohistory could not predict it. He is not an emperor, not a general, not a god, but a single man with the ability to twist the hearts and minds of billions. This is the mule. In the world of Isaac Asimov's Foundation, the mule is more than just a villain. He is the greatest threat the galaxy has ever known, because his very existence proves that the future is not written in stone. And as the Apple TV series inches closer to revealing him, fans everywhere are asking, what really happened to the mule in the original books? The television adaptation of Foundation has always played with mystery, rearranging timelines and bending characters to fit a modern story. From the beginning of Season 1, hints of the mule have been carefully planted. In visions, in whispers, in strange psychic flashes, the presence of this figure has haunted the edges of the show. He has not yet stepped into the light, but the writers have made sure we feel his shadow. Season 3, Episode 9 has become the place where theories collide, because every sign points to the fact that the mule is finally arriving. What makes the mule so frightening in the context of the series is not simply his power, it's the way the story positions him as an inevitability. While Hari Seldon designed the plan to guide humanity through chaos into stability, the mule represents pure chaos incarnate. The show teases him as a figure who will not play by the rules, someone who slips through the cracks of prophecy. That's why even the most loyal followers of Seldon's plan whisper his name with fear. The question isn't whether the mule will come, it's whether the galaxy can survive his coming. For viewers who only know the series, the mule feels like a ghost story told around the campfire. We've seen him briefly in Season 2 through psychic glimpses that hint at destruction, conquest, and ruin. His face, however, remains hidden. The showrunners are building suspense in the same way Asimov did in his novels, by allowing the mule to be more terrifying in rumor than in reality. His power is not brute force, but psychological domination, and Apple TV's version has leaned heavily on atmosphere, showing soldiers broken, cities abandoned, and empires in ashes, all because of one man's unseen hand. At this stage of the adaptation, the mule functions as both a character and a prophecy. Characters like Gul Dornick and Salvor Hardin have already encountered visions of him that feel like nightmares pulled from a different timeline. This storytelling device is not random. It's a deliberate echo of how the mule was described in the books, an unstoppable anomaly, an intrusion into history itself. By doing this, the show prepares us for his full reveal, ensuring that when he finally arrives, the weight of his legend already precedes him. But here lies the difference between book and screen. In the novels, the mule's introduction was shocking because no one had predicted him at all. He appeared suddenly, rising from obscurity to conquer the stars. In the series, we are warned of him ahead of time, giving us years to build theories and expectations. Some fans believe this approach makes him even scarier because waiting for disaster is sometimes worse than disaster itself. As we move deeper into Season 3, Episode 9 stands at the tipping point. All the hints, visions, and dark promises converge. Here, the show's universe has carefully constructed a ticking clock, and at the center of it is the mule. Whether he emerges as faithful to Asimov's vision or takes on an entirely new form, one thing is certain: the foundations of the galaxy are about to shake. In Isaac Asimov's original Foundation novels, the mule emerges not as a prophecy, but as a complete shock to the galaxy. His arrival is so sudden and devastating that it shakes the very logic of psychohistory. Remember, Hari Seldon's plan is built on predicting the behavior of entire populations over centuries. It assumes that individuals don't matter, that no single person can change the destiny of trillions. The mule is the exception to that rule. He is the crack in the foundation, the unpredictable element that turns mathematics into chaos. But who is he really? In the books, the mule is not born a king or raised as a soldier. He begins life as a frail, awkward figure, a mutant whose appearance is so unimposing that most people laugh at him. He is tall, gangly, almost sickly in his movements, and in another life he might have been dismissed as insignificant. Yet behind those pale eyes lies something terrifying, a psychic ability to control emotions. With a glance, the mule can twist a man's loyalty, erase fear, plant joy, or breed despair. Armies crumble before him not because of strength, but because he makes soldiers surrender willingly. Entire populations fall under his sway without ever realizing they've been conquered. This is what makes the mule so dangerous. He doesn't win wars in the traditional sense. He rewires the human spirit. The great empires of the galaxy are designed to resist rebellion, invasion, even economic collapse. But how do you defend against a single man who can make your generals love him and your leaders betray their own cause? In Asimov's story, this ability allows the mule to rise from obscurity to galactic dominance with terrifying speed. He takes worlds not by bombardment but by bending their hearts. The mule's conquests are described as inevitable once he sets his eyes on a target. Entire fleets defect to his side. Star systems fall without resistance. His charisma is not his own, it is an artificial weapon, a manipulation of biology itself. This makes him the ultimate outlier in Asimov's universe, because psychohistory can predict the flow of populations, but it cannot account for the will of one man who reshapes emotions at will. Hari Seldon's carefully calculated predictions, his entire plan for guiding humanity, suddenly collapse in the face of this mutant anomaly. Asimov carefully paints the mule as a tragic figure as well as a terrifying one. Despite his power, he is lonely, isolated by the very gift that grants him control. He knows no true loyalty, no real love, because he cannot be certain whether the feelings of others are genuine or simply the product of his manipulation. In this way, the mule is both a conqueror and a prisoner, a godlike figure cursed with eternal doubt. The novels portray his rise as swift, brutal, and nearly unstoppable. He conquers the remnants of the First Foundation, the so-called guardians of the plan, and for a time it looks as if he will reshape the galaxy forever. Asimov writes him not as a cartoonish villain, but as a complex disruption to the grand design of history. The mule isn't evil because he enjoys destruction. He's terrifying because he renders human free will irrelevant. Once under his influence, entire civilizations lose the ability to resist, and yet, for all his power, the mule is still a man. His very humanity, his loneliness, and his deep need for validation become his weaknesses. In Asimov's storytelling, that fragile core is just as important as his galactic dominance. It's what makes him a legend and a cautionary tale. The mule, then, is not just a character in Foundation. He is the embodiment of unpredictability, the reminder that no plan, no matter how perfect, can account for the wild card of human mutation and the chaos of chance. To Asimov's readers, his arrival was not just a plot twist. It was the breaking of a cosmic law. He proved that history itself could be hijacked by a single mind. For all his terrifying power, the mule's reign does not last forever. In Asimov's Foundation saga, his story is both brilliant and tragic, a reminder that even the most unstoppable force can be undone by something far greater than armies or empires. The persistence of knowledge. After rising from obscurity, the mule conquers one system after another, reshaping the galaxy in his image. Entire fleets kneel before him, their admirals and generals turned into fanatics by his psychic grip. Even the mighty First Foundation, the cornerstone of Hari Seldon's plan, falls into chaos under his assault. At this point in the novels, the galaxy seems lost. Seldon's predictions have been shattered, and the mule looks unstoppable. His empire stretches wide, his control absolute. Yet, for all his dominance, he knows there is one enemy he has not defeated, the second foundation. The second foundation exists in secret, hidden at the other end of the galaxy, a phrase deliberately vague to protect its location. While the first foundation masters science and technology, the second foundation is built upon the mastery of the mind mentalics, the art of controlling and understanding thoughts. The mule, aware of his own psychic abilities, fears them more than anything else. He knows they are the only ones who might match him at his own game. And so, while he outwardly rules as a godlike figure, his private obsession is hunting them down before they destroy him. In the books, his search for the second foundation becomes almost desperate. He sends agents across the stars hoping to expose them. He plants spies, uses his power to extract loyalty, and pushes his empire to the brink of paranoia. But the brilliance of the second foundation is that they are not simply hiding. They are guiding. Quietly, subtly, they weave influence into the galaxy, ensuring that the mule's reign will not last. And here lies the turning point. For all his psychic dominance, the mule is still only one man. His reach, though vast, is fragile, built upon his constant presence. Every world, every general, every follower who bends to his will does so because of his direct manipulation. The moment his attention slips, loyalty weakens, and doubt creeps in. The second foundation uses this flaw against him.